Hey everybody, Greg Rice here in the bucket, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and we're going to talk about land. Land, earth, dirt, surface, ground, whatever you want to call it. They are not making it anymore. All right, they've made it all. What is there is there. It is the new hot commodity on the street, literally. There's a big push legislatively to build more. And I believe that partially to be true. I don't think we need to go crazy, but there are some underutilized parcels of real estate in any city or town across our great state. So consider if you have any type of vacant land or a property. Maybe you have an oversized lot. Maybe you have a double lot, triple lot, who knows, that has a buildable area on it. And each city and town's requirement as far as lot square footage will vary. But generally, if you look at the property that is on, right, if say you got a single family and you look at that, and then you happen to have the identical size lot, to the right, to the left, whatever. And if it looks comparable, probe it. Get an attorney. I highly recommend Joe Brennan. Joe Brennan does a lot of land use for me. I highly recommend him. He's very succinct. He knows his stuff. He's a developer himself. He's in it. He knows, right? Legislatively, he's involved. He knows the nooks and crannies. He knows the general laws from the State House, what they're looking for, what they're trying to change. So he's the guy that could say, yeah, you have a chance, or, oh, you don't have a chance. Okay? So, for example, I have a property in Riverside, 15 Middle Street, and it has a large area of grass on the front side, on Bullock's Point Ave. And if you look into the house to the right, it's roughly the same size lot as this single family. So I go to Joe, I was like, hey man, what if we piece off this grass and I sell it to a developer, right? Make it its own parcel. So he looked at it and saw that it originally was 3 different parcels. And the second parcel is where the house is, comes into the grass, right? So it's not a clean line where the house is, it kind of overlaps. So therefore, even though the area is this big, the available lot square footage is almost half of what it appears to be. So he goes, you know what? That would be a very tough hill to climb. You could try to prove it, but it's going to cost you, $5-10 grand bucks. A lot of money. So that's something I'll keep on the back burner. But something like that, it's worth opening that dialogue about. Maybe you got something. Or maybe you have a large area of forestry that's perfect for a development. Okay? Just because it's overgrown, there's rocks, there's trees, there's hills, there's water, right? Wetlands are a little bit tougher. But don't be intimidated by the geography of the property. A developer would buy that and they handle that all, done. But to your mind, you're like, oh, nobody could ever build. There's this massive boulder. They could blast it. They could truck it out. No problem. So any type of land you have, consider the fact that you're going to sell it and have to do virtually nothing. It's free money if you own it, right? Flipping land is another thing, but that's a little bit harder because it's so scarce. And when it comes up, it goes. But if you can wholesale land too, that's an option for you. And another thing is, if it's a downtrodden property or an abandoned property, knock it down. Don't always think, oh, we got to renovate this house and fix it. You might knock it down. You might spend 10-20 grand to eliminate the house and then sell the lot. And to a developer, that's appealing because they don't have to, demolish the house. Maybe you leave the foundation or something like that. But start that process, throw it on the market and see what happens. There's plenty of different maneuvers you can do with land. And I believe it's our next biggest thing. And it's relatively, I wouldn't say affordable, but it almost, in some cases, makes more sense to acquire land, build a brand new structure for a similar price as to what you would buy for a 100-year-old structure, right? Especially with the multifamilies. Most of them built between 1920 and 1930. So think of it that way too. What's the utility going to be on my property? And in my opinion, most of these New England properties are going to be expiring, I would say, in 2050. Banks are probably no longer going to lend on them or going to require a higher down payment. Because after, 120, 130 years of use, it kind of, has reached its life point. And you see that in West Warwick. A lot of the West Warwick properties, 1880 to 1900, which is interesting. And you can see the floors, the roofs, the wall, the thing's just hanging on by a thread. So also consider what the time value would be on its lendability in the future. So a lot of things to consider. Anything you want to bounce off, let me know. And again, Joe Brennan, check him out. He's in Warwick. Warwick is on Jefferson, the Boulevard. All right. Any questions, let me know. Once again, Greg Rice here in the bucket, which we have no more land. Don't even look here. Your property and your vacant, underutilized land managed.